Hello, everyone. Welcome to Allatra TV. For those who join us for the first time, we would like to remind that Allatra International Public Movement has launched a unique global international project called Creative Society. The goal of the project is to ask people all over the world how do they envision society in which each person in the world feels happy and feels comfortable in all spheres of life. In order to achieve our main goal, we use internet and the rule of six handshakes, which says that all people connected through five or less social connections, and we invite guests to our programs and they invite their friends and acquaintances, and this creative chain goes on. And in the end of this program, we're going to ask our guest to share a name of one person whom he would like to meet in this live broadcast. My name is Irina and my co-host today is Monica, who will introduce our guest.
Hello, dear friends. Thank you, Irina. So it's my pleasure to welcome our today's guest, keynote speaker, coach, TV producer, and the world's first joyologist, Pat Armitstead from Australia. Pat, welcome to the live broadcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so delighted that you have this project happening and that it's just been picked up so quickly. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. So firstly, I would like to ask you, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do? What motivates you in your life?
Yeah. In the year 2000, following a series of losses, I ended up calling myself the world's first joyologist. And under that title, I wanted to be able to help people find joy when it seemed there was none. I know now, 20 years on, that I'm here to inspire hope, liberate compassion, and evoke joy. I know that we can't lift the bottom line if our people are down, and the mental health statistics show me just how many people are feeling down, and it's probably worse with this COVID phenomena. Over these 20 years, I've been supporting leaders and their teams to move through grief and loss, to understand and manage anxiety and the stressors in their life, and manage depression. I've been delivering a mental health in the workplace program, just finished one huge project delivering to 450 leaders around Australia with profound results. Men, mostly men, who have been prepared to engage more intimately with their fellow men, share vulnerably, and learn how to have brave conversations. And, I'm just so seeing there's like a wellspring of change and a shift in how we each be with each other. But especially in the business sector, now having conversations that they wouldn't have even considered 20 years ago. I've been running a good grief program since 2004, leading people through grief and loss. And we actually make art, and you can see behind me a piece of art. We make this three-dimensional art.
Can you show it closer to us?
I don't know if I can bring it closer, but
and what is it there?
That's a cast face. It's actually my face, and it's three-dimensional, the piece. There's a wire frame. It's a rebirthing piece. So that one is of a period when I was coming back from a series of losses, and so there was a new me coming through. So for me, giving expression to my deeper feelings through art helps me move through that process. It's like journaling.
And it's like you help
you scroll onto
other
the page.
people.
So yeah, people share their story, and I help them make meaning of that story and then make art. So, and it's usually with a cast piece of their body. It might be a face or hands or an arm, torso sometimes. Wherever the pain is stored in the body, that's where we want to release it. So that's what the casting process is about. And the healing that occurs in a 3 or 4 day period over which we run this program is profound. And, you know, again, it's one of the things I've been fostering for 40 years is creating a high trust environment. I had 16 years as a nurse, and we need to do that, and we need to do it very quickly because we've got things to do to patients, and they're not necessarily always friendly. So, you know, to have them trust you enables a smoother process. There was a time when you could never talk about healing in the workplace, and that's starting to happen now. And I've been slowly having conversations with executive leaders about healing their childhood wounds, because they can't lead more consciously into this next era that we're stepping into unless they do. They can't support people who are in pain, and so many are at the moment, if they haven't healed their own wounds. So they need to recognise that early wounding that happens often in the first years of your life that leaves an imprint on how you behave and how you be with people. So to visit that and give it expression, they don't always do that piece of art. But there are other ways to give expression to that. And I think for men, male leaders especially, just the fact that I've seen them in this last couple of years share so vulnerably enables them all to have a breakthrough. One man, after a session, this is one of the mental health in the workplace days, said to me at the close of the day, he said, "Pat, I'm actually going home today to be present to my wife. My wife suffers with anxiety and I didn't know." And when he said that, tears started to come to his eyes. And he said, "I didn't know, Pat." So his peers around the table, 20 other men, stood up and gave him a standing ovation. So such vulnerable sharing about something like it was more domestic than business. But he would have gone home. His wife would have wondered, who's this coming through the door? Because this is not how you usually are. And he would have been forever changed. He goes to work the next day and he's different because he's seeing with new eyes. He's taken off a lens, a filter was taken off, and now he can see more clearly. So a lot of my other work, I work with a young boy, I'll show you another piece if I may, who at the height of his emotional turmoil actually sutured his lips together. And we made a piece of art with that, which is
3D?
Yes.
Image.
Yeah. Yeah, it's his face.
Interesting.
So he couldn't say what he wanted to say. So the height of his turmoil, that's what he did. And, you know, he pretty much had a breakdown. So he's okay now. But sometimes we need to get to right.
Pat, we can't hear you. Could you please unmute the microphone? Thank you so much.
I think Pat don't hear us now. Pat, we don't hear you. You turned off your microphone.
Sorry.
Yes, now we hear you.
Perfect, thank you.
Sorry.
We lost you right after you told about the boy.
Yeah. So many people are not fully self-expressed.
We also prepared some pictures for you. It's pictures from your life, from events which happened in your life, and we would like to show it to you so you would comment on them and we would know more about you. We would like our technical support to show us collage that we prepared. Yeah, do you see it on the screen?
Oh, okay. Yes. I actually have.
If you see it small, you can double click and it should be
I actually have that large collar too.
Yay! We have it in the picture too.
I made this. It's a collar that I wear.
What is it?
Especially if I'm talking about creativity. I want people to be fully self-expressed, not held back like that young boy was. He couldn't say anything. He couldn't give one word. So, you know, to be fully self-expressed is to use all of your pencils and all of your colours. So it's all of your multiple intelligences, all of your signature strengths, what's in your heart, you know, what your soul wants to express. Yet we're taught, you know, that we should just be doing one thing and off you go and be a nurse, or you might be a hairdresser or a photographer. If you go beyond that, you can often receive criticism. And that's when we learn to, or our censor, CENSOR, kicks in, and we don't always step out. So some of those other presentations there, I've been presenting for almost 20 years now to a laughter wellbeing conference that's been held here and in New Zealand. I've been a speaker there for all that time. Some of those others, most of them are creative. Art has been a big part of my life, but it's also been a big part of my healing. And when I started to put my wounds on a canvas and make art and meaning, they didn't all turn out as, I love that one behind me, magnificent, but they were all expressions. And I started to see when I did that, it no longer had me. So we can be had by our wounds and we can be had by our pain, or we can make something beautiful. You know, this was actually the one behind me at like quite a difficult time. I was like the butterfly coming out of the, you know, chrysalis. That's a struggle. So coming through, you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work on yourself, and it's all internal. And when the time is right, then you can emerge in all your colours, if you like. You know, the beautiful monarch butterfly is my example. There's another piece there that's all hodgy-podgy, and I actually painted that one at the beginning of COVID, because I really had problems, like, where's the sense in this, trying to make sense of what's happening, the actions everyone's taking, turmoil. And so with no plan, I just sat down and just went on the canvas with that one. And when it was done, I thought, oh, it's just entanglement. That's where we are. We're just in this place of entanglement, but we're coming through now. And a story I share with clients, when the butterfly is not formed and it's still in the cocoon, every single constituent that it needs when it's emerged is already there. So nothing extra needs to be added. And it's the same for us. Everything we need for our emergence is already here. We've just got to access it. And perhaps our biggest barrier to that is having the courage to give vent with full self-expression. Because if I'm an artist and I show up, what if people don't like my work? What if I get criticized for it? What if someone pulls me down? So we have this doubt, which is often fed by others around us, and we can end up not doing what we'd love to do. We do something else instead. So through my life, I've become, I've got umpteen certificates for all kinds of things, but I've been a film producer. I've produced 10 documentaries. I've been a film and television makeup artist. I'm a dressmaker. I'm a milliner. I can make hats. And like all the master artists in the world from the past, the old masters, they did the same. They explored and tried so many things, often had unfinished work, but in not until their passing often did we kind of see the full appreciation for the full expansion that was them expressing themselves. And that's what I want to see happen. And that's been really my work, especially this 20 years, but even before, but with real concerted effort now, this 20 years. People are hurting.
Thank you so much.
We can be
Thank you
balm.
for sharing. This what you do. It really inspires. You try to make people focus on positive things, try to make them laugh so they would live in this joy and happiness. This is nice.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of it, but there's a thing called laughter yoga. Have you heard of that? So it's pretend laughter. It's got some yoga, not really having fun. So it's pretend laughter, and it's designed to make you laugh when you don't feel like laughing. It's been hugely successful in aged care facilities where elderly people are often down and it's hard to lift their energy and, you know, bring some buoyancy. So these laughter exercises are silly, but people end up laughing for real.
That you're such an active person. You are so energetic and ambitious, and it's so inspiring. And I would like to ask you, because as we mentioned at the beginning, that in Allatra International Public Movement, there is a project called Creative Society. And our goal is to ask entire humanity, how do they envision this society? So we would like to ask you, how do you envision a creative society, a society in which every person would live happily and comfortably?
I would really like to see, number one, 3 generations come back as a normality. We have huge separation. Child, parent, and grandparent are not a normal fixture anymore. That we've got that separation. So I would love to see that come back. I'd like to see people being able to step into being the change they want to see. Listen to your soul calling. And if you're being, you know, inspired to paint or create, then take that up. That's your call. I'd like to see people be able to step back into their power, be fully self-expressed. And what does that mean? Well, for me, we honour sport and we honour academia around the world, but we don't honour creativity. We don't honour spiritual intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, practical intelligence in anywhere near the same way. So, and we've all got all of those intelligences, but they tend to be stifled. So to open up the spirit of people to be expressed in all of those areas means even if you're not doing the job of your dreams, you can still find joy every day. I ask people to marry those things to their job description. And then whether you like your job or not, you can still, when you bring more of yourself to work, find more joy. I'm a member of the Virtues Project, which has been around for about 35 years. And creativity has been huge for me all my life. May I read a card from that project?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's creativity. Creativity is the power of imagination. We are open to inspiration, which ignites our originality. With creativity, we are resourceful and intuitive. We solve problems in new and surprising ways. We know how to play. Let me say that again. We know how to play. We take time for dreaming. Discovering our own special talents is a gift to the world. whether it's making a meal, playing a sport, or creating a craft. It connects us to the beauty of sound, design, colour, movement, ideas, and words. And for me, words are really important. The language we use influences so heavily how other people will feel that we need to be much more conscious with our language. And using creativity helps bring our gifts out to the world. So I have a colleague, David Martin, and when we met, he was interested to know about the Joyology journey. And he said, oh, do you know, Pat, he said, in years to come, we won't be known as Pat Armitstead or David Martin. He said, we'll be known for what we stand for. And I thought, oh, okay. So maybe in the future, I won't be Pat Armitstead. I'll be Joyful Empowerment. So
that is amazing. As you are talking about Joyology, could you please tell us more about this project? How did this idea come about?
Joyology was born from a series of losses. I'd lost my home, lost my business twice in 4 years, relocated to another country. I owing 80,000. I chose not to go bankrupt and instead committed that I would pay it off in 2 years. I had 10 car accidents in an 18-month period, none my fault, honestly. And I had cancer, and I'm fine now, as you can see. And at the height of all of that, my partner of 20 years left with another woman. So I disintegrated, and I ended up condensing the story a little, having a conversation with a magician. And in that conversation, there was just a little lull, and a voice from somewhere said, we've got radiology, pathology, hematology, but no joyology. I'm going to be a joyologist. So I had no idea what that was going to be. I got clever and I went and did 2 pilot programs to just explore what could it be. And that took place over a 15-month period. And then from there, I had enough thoughts and ideas about what can I do with all this knowledge I've accrued to bring more joy. So, you know, my mission moving forward now is to be a voice for all that is joyful about humanity. And language has been perhaps the biggest part of that. And expression.
Just to bring more joy in the world, right? Just to make people, to learn, to help people, to learn how to be happy.
Yeah.
That's a great job you do. And we've touched already a topic of creative society, and we would like to ask you more about the society in which each person would feel comfortable. How do you envision education and healthcare in such society? How this should be the social system and creative society?
In the past, we've had such inequity. So I would like things to be, I envisage a much more even playing field, and that we would experience and have regard for each other in our full human expression. At the moment, it's very sheltered and clouded. So who would we all be being if we were totally free in our spirit to express and relate, to be a contribution? In the last 20 years, I have sent over 20,000 pieces of what I call glad mail. I send 3 pieces a day, honouring, celebrating, congratulating what I see. So sometimes it'll be at a conference or a workshop. People I meet might be the girl at the checkout at the supermarket. But I have cards with me all the time. And we hardly ever use the word honour But this virtues project, when people learn to use it, then the language in everyday relating is, you know, I honour you for the kindness you just showed. I honour you for the contribution you just made. And it just shifts everything. So an honouring language and an honouring means of expression, some equity, so that we don't have this huge gap, and the capacity to relate. We're experiencing such isolation and untold loneliness at the moment. So for loneliness to not be in our experience would be profound. That would be just extraordinary. A world where no one had to be alone again. So very much values-based.
Exactly, thank you. And about values, how do you think it is important to talk to people and share with them the idea of creative society, to talk about these human universal values, talk about positivity in society? How is it important?
These are your foundations, those 8 foundations, yes? Yeah. I love
we're gonna
those.
touch upon them now as well. We're gonna read them as well.
In the Virtues Project, where these cards come from, they identify about 100 values. And it's been my experience over this time that when we're truly present and to the gifts of others, we learn very quickly to become an observer rather than a judger. Like with creativity, if I had that as my virtue for the week, I'd see where it was and I'd see where it wasn't in my own life. And then as I went out into my week, I'd see where it was in the lives of other people and where it was missing. And the lesson every time for the individual is where you perceive that it's missing, that's your opportunity to be a contribution. So I've been doing this for 20 years, and it has just very gently taught me to be an observer rather than a judger. So we can look out on the world and just notice rather than reacting, being triggered. So, you know, very calm and peaceful existence. My heart rate, as often as I can check it, sits, even under stress, at 88. It rarely, I won a game show once under great stressy conditions, and the producer came to me afterwards and he said, Pat, he said, I can't believe it. He said, even when we told you you'd won, I answered 7 questions in 7 minutes and won $5,000. He said, even when we told you you'd won, your heart rate stayed exactly the same. So to achieve a level of equanimity creates calm. And if I'm calm, you can be calm. You know, so we can experience more peace and more tranquility by managing ourselves. So knowing ourselves and knowing ourselves really well, and living to a set of values. And we don't have to remember them all in our head all the time. Have practices that support us to do that.
Yes, that's right, Pat. So we started to talk about the 8 foundations which are described in the article, The Foundations of Creative Society and Stages of its Construction. And these 8 foundations were created from the social surveys that we conducted in 180 countries around the globe, and they are based off the answers and needs of people. And we would like to read them out right now. Technical support, could you please show us the 8 foundations of Creative Society? Thank you so much. So I'm going to read them out. So the first one, human life. Second one, human freedom. The third one, human safety. The fourth one, transparency and openness of information for all. The fifth, the creative ideology. The sixth one, development of personality. The seventh one, justice and equality. And the eighth, self-governing society. But we would be really pleased if you could choose one of the foundation and which resonated with you the most, and maybe we can discuss about it. So which foundation would you like to talk about?
I love them all, but the one that is perhaps closest to my heart in current times is freedom. I think it was number 2. Over my life, I've experienced a significant amount of injustice. And there've been a number of events here happen over this COVID experience in Australia where people have been, in my view, treated very unjustly, and it's broken my heart. And I thought, well, this is really interesting. I didn't think I was an activist. However, this has sparked something in me. So my top 3 motivators are love, freedom, and spiritual intimacy. So freedom for me means, being able to express and not being confined or held in. I've been happy to comply with isolation during this COVID experience, but beyond that, I haven't been in a position as yet to be forced to do something, but I would actually be very resistant in that space. So
maybe we can read out loud the foundation and you can comment on it. Maybe you will have some ideas what to add. The foundation of creative society, the second one, human freedom, sounds like this. Every human is born with the right to be a human being. All people are born free and equal. Everyone has the right to choose. There can be no one and nothing on earth above a human, his freedom and rights. The implementation of human rights and freedom must not violate the rights and freedoms of others. And maybe you would like to add something in this regard.
Yeah, to provide that space for ourselves, but also to provide it for another, especially in relationship. If we can be in relationship with like a partner or colleagues, and we're practicing that, then we've got a level of respect and regard that's enduring. A lot of things that we learn, we don't learn how to make them sustainable. So sustainable practices take commitment, and commitment's a big word. A lot of people are interested in doing stuff, but they're not really committed. Big difference. So being able to create those distinctions for ourselves and for others, and to allow that. The art of improv acting teaches that. In improv, the rules are all players are equal. Nobody wins if someone tries to win. You're ready to receive and open to give. And improv acting troops would not dream of letting anyone fail. So there's this incredible presence, and I think presence is probably a big requirement in order to create that freedom between 2 or 100.
Right. And the conditions in society should be created in the way so the human freedom wouldn't be violated, right?
Yeah. So, we have some restrictions of that at the moment, and it's a test for all of us. And, for me, the test is, all right, will I react, or will I come to this from a place of love? How can I even though all of this is happening, how could I still be a contribution? How can I still stay in my lane? There's a saying, staying in your own paddock. I don't know if you know that saying, but stepping outside, you know, like a cow is in its own paddock. If a cow is outside its own paddock, then, you know, it'll get herded up to come back. So living in our own lane, but being so mindful of who's on either side, because we're in an ecosystem, and it's the environment that governs how people will be. So we need to contribute to that. And we've got a choice. We can go up or down.
Right.
But thank you so much. And we would like to ask you, can you please tell us a name, or to name a person that you would like to meet on the next live broadcast? So, or maybe you would like to participate as a co-host.
I'd love to participate as a co-host. But yeah, I do have a suggestion, and I don't know if I mentioned her before, but a lady who comes to mind is Linda Conyard. She's a trauma therapist who's doing remarkable work here in Australia, doing a reverse PhD, and having us all look at our, what's the word, transgenerational wounding and healing now in Australia.
That's amazing.
Very, very interesting work. Yeah.
Yeah, we will be happy to meet her, and we actually happy to meet each person. So we invite everyone who would like to participate in this live broadcast to write us an email at info@allatra.tv. Also, you may visit our website, allatraunites.com, where you can share the information about Creative Society, read about goals and objectives of the project, and also leave there your contact information by clicking the join button. And we will contact you, so you would share with us your ideas and the vision of Creative Society. But we are so happy we met you today. We had a conversation with you. We're looking forward to see you in the next broadcast, and to see your friend. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone.
Yes,
Maybe you have some
I'm
last
so
words
glad
to
you found
say.
me.
Yes, something you would like to wish our viewers.
Yeah, look, we are here to bring joy, not just into our own lives, but into the lives of others. And we've never had a time where that was more important. So just engage.
Right, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.